that women are unable to maintain their own personal identity outside of the titles that they hold. Mother, sister, boss, and CEO. It's like once you become all of those things, you then lose who you are at your core. And as I sit here as a 30-plus-year-old woman thinking about having kids, newlywed, I'm thinking about that. Like, I think about what's going to happen when I have children. I don't want to lose myself in becoming a mother like I watched so many other women do. And when I got married, of course, so exciting. I'm so excited and happy and thrilled to be married, to have found a partner to spend the rest of my life with. But when I got married, it became, oh, hey, Mrs., my new last name. And it's just like, I don't want to lose myself in just being a wife either. I still want it to be like, hey, Sonia, I still want to maintain that part of my identity. And I don't know if this is going to resonate with anybody, but I think that we tend to lose ourselves in those titles. Like, oh, I can't do XYZ because I gotta think about my job, I gotta think about my kids, I gotta think about my family, which obviously is, the right things to do. But then there are so many women who have to go on this journey of finding themselves after the kids leave the house, and after, potentially like a divorce, or something happens to their spouse, unfortunately. Then they're like, oh, I gotta refine myself, I gotta go find myself. And it's like, why weren't you able to do that while you were in your relationship? Why weren't you able to do that as a parent? Like, what is it about these titles that we hold that keeps us from exploring who we are, doing things that genuinely make us happy? And so I've been like making sure that I still maintain my identity. Like, I still want to make sure that I'm spending time with my friends, that I'm spending time with myself. I still take myself out on solo dates. And I recently went to Aruba by myself. I wasn't supposed to go by myself. It was supposed to be a girls trip. I was supposed to go with my cousin. And when people found out that I was going by myself, they were like, oh my God, you went somewhere by yourself without your husband? And it's like, y'all don't go nowhere without your husbands? Like, and my grandma's gonna laugh when she see this, but I was talking to my grandma. She was like, how dare you leave your man? I was like, Nana, you sound like a pick-me. She was like, so? And I'm like, I'm so appreciative and grateful that my husband is secure enough in our relationship to be comfortable with me, going across the country by myself, so that I can explore, different sides of myself still, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Like of course my husband was concerned about my safety, right? Like, if you watch the vlog, he was on the phone with me the entire time I was there. So it was like, really wasn't on a solo trip completely, because like I knew that he was concerned and we were talking a lot. But it still wasn't one of those things where I felt like, oh, I just need to cancel this trip because my man can't come or my man ain't coming. No, I paid for this trip. It was supposed to be a girls trip. The girls trip didn't happen. So I made the best of the situation that I had, and I was supported through that. There was a point in time where people had told me that you shouldn't get into a relationship until you completely healed. And I kind of listened to that a little bit, but then I think about all of the things that my husband has helped me to heal on this journey of us being together. And also the fact that I've been able to still be on that journey of finding myself or getting back to myself, because I went through so much, I guess, trauma, and still navigating that. I don't think that you necessarily have to be alone in order to do that, as long as you have the right partner. you know? And I don't want this to be too long or too all over the place. It's just been on my mind ever since I went on that trip, and I'm just like, I don't know, I felt a little bad because I'm like, I was wrong. But me and my husband travel everywhere together. So I'm like, no, I'm okay to, you know, do a solo trip here and there. It was absolutely liberating. Loved it. I'm still going to maintain going on trips and things with my girlfriends. And I love that. My husband loves that for me. And while I was on that vacation, I was able to spiritually connect with myself and with God and meet new friends and meet new people. And I also love that we are individuals but together. And so he also navigates his own interests and his own things that he loves to do and making new friends and hanging out with his friends. Like, I don't know what what it typically looks like, you know, but I'm grateful that we are having this time to learn each other in this new stage, right? Before we become parents, because we've had to have the conversations like, I don't want to lose myself when I become a mom. I still want to maintain my identity, because people are like, oh, you know, you're not going to be able to do that once you have kids. You're not going to be able to do that. And it's like, this is something that I love. This is a part of me. And if bringing children into the world is going to make me lose that part of myself, that doesn't sound desirable. That doesn't sound like something I would want to do. I don't want to lose myself in anything. I don't want to lose myself in being a wife. I don't want to lose myself in being a mother. I don't want to lose myself on my job. I still want to maintain my own level of autonomy and individuality. And, you know, so I've really been thinking about those things. And so I had posted a video on TikTok about Black women specifically, and how we have this intrinsic need to just take care of everybody and everything besides ourselves. Like, we put everything before us. Oh no, it's okay, I'm all right, just take care of them. Oh no, I'll take care of me last. I'll get to me last, just take care of them. And it's like, so you take care of everybody else, and then you get to you don't have anything left for you, or you have just the bare minimum to give to yourself, the bare minimum energy, the bare minimum like compassion, everything. And it's like, how will you continue to take care of those things and those people if you're empty? Like, that phrase that we can't pour from an empty cup is so real, because you need to take the time to pour into yourself first before you can pour into other people. And that's why I've always maintained that, like, I take time to myself. I still date myself. I still show up for myself. And that allows my husband to still see me as that woman that he fell in love with, you know, and also shows him how to show up for me and how to love me too, as I continue to grow and learn different ways that I want to be shown love and compassion and, you know, all of those things. As I'm showing it to myself, I'm showing it to him, and he can pick up like, okay, I see that you like this thing now. Like, there was a point in time where I just started getting to like perfumes and stuff. He was like, oh, you like that? And I'm like, yeah. I would go and I would buy myself some Ariana Grande. I went to the store and I got like 3 new perfumes, and he noticed that I was buying myself perfumes. So he went out and started buying me perfumes. So as we learn to develop our identity for ourselves and learn to love on us for us, then it helps other people to love us in that same way, you know? And so I did that video on TikTok about women taking off their capes and pouring into themselves, essentially, and putting themselves first. And it actually got picked up by another channel on here, and it like went viral. And I was like, I love that, because people are tapping in, you know? Like, I think that the way that I think sometimes can be viewed as selfish. And I think that's okay. Like, I think that we are allowed to be selfish to a certain extent. Like, you have to give you something. The more of the things, actually. You should give yourself the most in order to give the overflow to every other place that you pour into. Like, even like financially, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first with your love and attention and passion and compassion. Pay yourself first with all of the things that you give to everybody else. You know, there are so many women who leave this earth and this life having never done the things that they wanted to do because they spent their entire lives giving to everyone else. That is not a life that I desire. It's not a life that I want for myself. And when I do have children, I hope that they understand that sentiment. Like, I hope that they see, like, my mom still lived even though she had us. You know, she still maintained her own identity and she still did the things that she loved to do despite having a family. And I'm so grateful and glad that I now have the opportunity to think about those things before I have children, because I know that that's not everybody's experience. Like the women in my family had children when they were young, so they didn't get the opportunity to, you know, I guess, do that. Actually, no, I can't even say that, because now as I sit back and I think about it, there was times where my mom would be out. My mom would travel. My mom would go out and she would do things. And maybe that's where I get that from, because she was living her life. Like, she was a young mom living her life, and she's like, yeah, I got these kids. She had 5 kids, and I'm still going to do me. I'm still going to explore love. I'm still going to explore myself. I'm still going to do the things that I love to do. She loved to travel. She loved to cook. She loved to entertain. She loved to hang with her friends. My mother didn't give up her identity for anything. And maybe that's where I get that from. Now that I sit here and I process that, that actually kind of makes me emotional. When you really sit and think about, like, people tell me all the time, oh, you're so much like your mom, but I don't really remember too much, you know? But as I sit here and I'm saying these things, I'm like, wait, no. I could imagine that being a young mom, you have to sacrifice everything. I do recall my mom being at work a lot, but I also remember her living her life. I remembered her being out in New York, and, you know, she loved going to New York. She loved going to Jersey. You know, she was that girl. And I want my kids to say that same thing. I want my kids to watch this video in the future and say, my mom was that girl. You know, I want to leave that mark, a positive mark on the world, on my legacy, you know. And I pray that more women start to realize that too. Start to find themselves in their relationships, in their roles. Because even if you are running a business, you got to take care of yourself. Even if you aren't running your own business, but you're at a job, like, I've heard so many times women say, oh, I can't take off at work because my job needs XYZ. And it's like, would your job care if something happened to you? Like, would your job, you know, like, when we really think about it, like, we are easily replaceable at these places a lot of times. Like, people always talk about how there's that one thing floating around the internet, like, that lady passed away, and by the end of the day, that day, they had her job listing posted and her office cleared out. Live your life. Take your PTO. Like, use your PTO. I encourage people to take your time off. When I quit working in social services and I had, like, so much PTO left over that I didn't use, I was just like, wow, I gave so much of myself to this job, and I was sick. I was going through so much at that point in time in my life, and I wasn't taking time off because I felt like my clients' needs were more important than mine. And now I'm in this like selfish era. I'm taking all my PTO. Like I'm using every last drop. I might even go over, as a matter of fact, because no, we deserve to take time for ourselves, to love on ourselves, to pour into ourselves, to just literally sit and do nothing. Like, you can take a mental health day. Use your PTO and take a mental health day. Use your PTO and just be at the house. Like, I start at the beginning of the year and I look, okay, what days do I want to take off this year? You know, like I'm in a different mental and emotional phase of my life now that I'm in my 30s, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this experience, you know? And I want to talk about it in the comments. Like, let me know what y'all think, because there is this idea of Black women being the superhero and taking care of everybody else. I am a self-care superhero. I'm taking care of me first, and then I'm gonna take care of the world. Because if my little part of the world needs me, then it needs me at my best. It needs me thriving and striving. It needs me to be at my fullest capacity, to love, to serve, and to be. So that's what I'm gonna do. Any woman out there, especially Black women that see this, I beg of you, make time for yourself before you get to the end of your life and realize that you didn't take enough. Make time for your health. Make time for the things that make you laugh, the things that bring you joy. I understand that we need to be there for the people that love us, the people that need us. But if we're not around to take care of them because we didn't take care of ourselves, then what does all of that even matter? That's all, folks. I hope that this wasn't just a whole long segment of me rambling. I just had some things on my mind, okay? Because we got this cape on our back. We need to take it off. And yeah, I hope that 2024 is the year that you become your self-care superhero, okay? I love y'all so much, and I hope you love yourself just as much, okay? Always be fully loving yourself. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.